Who should seek a Kundalini awakening? What's the point in a Kundalini awakening? It's a very good question. Who are my trainings right for? It's a brilliant question. Are you ready to take my training? Because let's come down to it. At the end of the day, what I do is a very specific, it's a very niche thing. And for the vast majority of the people, they're not ready to do what I do. When you work with people on high levels, in groups, and you can take people to have collective experiences. People might call them psychedelic experience, but there's no psychedelics involved. They are spirit journeys, and it's not an individual spirit journey. It's a spirit journey that everybody goes on together and everybody experiences the same thing at the same time. That's just one little aspect of what happens. Not everybody's ready for that. Not everybody can comprehend that. To comprehend the fact that everything, all the religions talk about, and they all aim to try and tell, but mistell, that when you have a Kundalini awakening, everybody will have basically the same experience, which shows this isn't some hippy-trippy mushroom journey, which is completely random and just, yeah, like a dream. Most people aren't ready for that. Most people aren't ready to put in the work, to do the shadow work, to do the de-armoring, to go through it, to be able to do this safely. It's like, no, I'm better than that. I'm just going to play with matches, and if I get burnt, I'll complain. I say that, but unfortunately, it does happen. So many people sort of play with the energies. So, oh yeah, I can do this, and you know, it's not an easy thing to do. I get people who comment on videos on my channel, and it's like they might write this really long. So you can tell they've only watched one video, and then they write this really long text about what they think, whatever the topic of the video is, as though I haven't done this for 25 years plus, that I haven't done my research on these things. I'm not just a social media light that watches someone else's video, talks about it, you know, basically copies what they say. I know what I'm talking about. And so these people watch one video and they come on and they say, oh, well, this, and this. I'm like, you haven't listened to the video. Half the things you say are right, or half right, and half the things you say are wrong. And then they sort of get offended by it. Those people are not ready to have an awakening, to go through this most profound, life-changing experience. And it's funny, the people that take trainings with me, I do get some beginners, but most people, they are either therapists in other fields, and they want to keep learning and keep expanding their education. There are people who have, there are quite a few people that have done Kundalini activation, you know, these short trainings, and they've realized they know nothing about what they're doing, and they actually want to learn about what they're doing. So get people like that. Also get a lot of people who have been working, you know, with Tai Chi, with Neigong. They really know what they're talking about with energies, and they just want to take it to the next level. Get a lot of people like that. But then again, a lot of people that they've just either from one event in their lives, like a life-changing event, or it's just they've always had it. They've always had something, or after an event, things have just been different for them. And it can be from, they've have intuitions, they have premonitions, they've always had dreams that are premonitions and come true, or they sort of, the typical thing of, well, I'm driving down the street and this voice suddenly says to me, hit the brakes. So I hit the brakes, I check the mirror behind me, hit the brakes, stop, and then had I not hit the brakes, a truck comes out of another road and it would have hit me and killed me. These types of things that people think are rare, but they happen more often, a lot more often than is talked about. So people that have these experiences through life, they're the people that come and take trainings with them, because they're the people that really want to put in the effort, put in the time, put in the learning to really understand about themselves, but to also understand the bigger questions. This is what Kundalini Awakening is about. It's not about an ayahuasca trip. It's not about magic mushrooms, because I can guarantee you, any trip you have on magic mushrooms, any trip you have on LSD, any trip you have on ayahuasca, you will have way better experiences going through this process than you will have on any ayahuasca trip. All those plant medicines, again, don't get me wrong, they are brilliant, they're amazing, but they are plant medicines. Medicine, something to heal you and bring you back to point zero. Very similar to de-armoring. It brings you back to point zero. It connects you to your inner self, it connects you to your inner you to show you your path. Inner self, higher self. What a Kundalini Awakening does, because some people say, oh, well, in that case, Kundalini Awakening, if that, then it connects you to your higher self. Yes, it does connect you to your higher self, but it connects you to much further than that. It connects you to the collective consciousness. It connects you to the source consciousness. It connects you to Shiva consciousness, to Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Not your third eye, not your inner voice, visions. It's exterior to you. Doing this results for the vast majority of people in the attainment of what they call siddhis, or psychic phenomenon, or, okay, siddhis, yes, but there's a siddhi that says you can fly. Yeah, there is. Not physically flying. I've never met anyone who can physically fly. That's just nonsense. As far as I'm aware in my experience, maybe you've seen someone fly and, okay, fair enough. But in my experience, I've never seen anyone fly. However, there is a siddhi that is attached to flying, because one of the siddhis, there are several of them, but you have remote viewing, astral travel, and astral projection. Now, you don't have to have a Kundalini Awakening to learn how to astral project. There are other ways to do it. But this is one of the things that can be attained through it, just one of the many of them. There are many siddhis: precognition, controlling different things. I'm not going to go too deep into this, because obviously this is a public video on YouTube, and there are certain things we should keep private. But yeah, so it's Kundalini Awakening is not for the super highly opinionated, you're right, I'm wrong, or leaving some random comment that doesn't quite make sense, or the people that love to follow. Again, don't get me wrong, some of them are great, but they're really sort of into the spiritual ego of the how do I say this without making it sound, but airy, fairy, fluffy angels, and don't get me wrong, there is a correct interpretation of angels and it can be very powerful. But I mean, some people, and they're talking about the fairies and the fairies with their wings, and fairies don't have wings. Fairies have nothing to do with Disney. The fairies are the fae. The fae are the same as the jinn in Persia or the dakini in Buddhism and Taoism. Nothing like Tinkerbell. But, so if you follow them, or the people who are huge into conspiracy theories, it's like this isn't for you. You're only going to end up worse off, because you have to clear all that programming, because conspiracy theory is as much programming as the opposite to conspiracy theory. It's just all matrix programming. Whilst you're there, whilst you're stuck in that, deep stuck in your beliefs, I'm right, you're wrong, blah, 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 this isn't for you. Because if you go down the journey, you will end up in a heavy, heavy dark night of the soul, because the higher you raise the energies, the more your ego is going to fight back and try and control the situation and keep you safe in your bubble. And if you have these beliefs, your ego is going to fight back. It's going to shut you down, which feels like a sort of sudden onset of depression or anxiety. Hence, go read about what the dark night of the soul is. This is exactly what it is. To stop this thing from happening, you have to let go of your beliefs. You have to embody the energy. You have to embody the consciousness. You have to go with it. You have to run with it. Because if you don't, you will end up in a hard place. Now, there are some people who are, this is rare, but there are some people that, unfortunately, through programming, they live in fear. Again, anyone who lives in fear, this isn't for you. But there are some people that they are just so highly energetical or so highly connected that it's going to keep hitting them. It might be activated after an event of some sort, and it's going to keep hitting them until they realize that their programming of fear and no and me first and me, I'm in control and blah, 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 blah. These people have to let go of the me first, because otherwise it's going to drive them crazy into a dark night of the soul, depression, worse, possibly into a Kundalini syndrome. I also hear a lot of people say, oh, I've got Kundalini syndrome, and I'm like, really? What is Kundalini syndrome? And they're like, oh, well, that's a dark night of the soul. Kundalini syndrome is a misdiagnosis. If someone has a Kundalini syndrome because they've been playing with the energies, from psychologists and psychiatrists that are ignorant to these processes, someone with Kundalini syndrome will be diagnosed bipolar or worse. Now, of course, it has these symptoms of being bipolar and stuff like that. It's not bipolar, and the great way to tell them apart, is first because it's been done through energy. And the second thing is because basically there is no cure to being bipolar, but there are cures. It takes a hell of a lot of work, but there are cures to the Kundalini syndrome. You can get rid of it. You can get back to ground zero again. Yeah. There are some psychiatrists and psychologists learning about Kundalini syndrome, understanding these things. It's early days. It's going to take a long time for these things to become mainstream, if they ever do. Perhaps it's not such a good thing they become mainstream. But yeah, so if you are looking to awaken your Kundalini, and you sort of fit the description of what I was saying, and you're really interested, check me out. Come to theawakenedenergy.com. Check me out. I have 2 types of training. As I'm making this video, one of the 2 types of training is 50% off, because I do try and keep prices as low as possible, or do offers for people so more people can do them. That is, and again, a lot of people get confused because they say, oh, well, you have 2 levels of training because of Kundalini activation. I do have an advanced level of training, but that is a very, very advanced level, and that I don't talk about to anybody until they've completed at least one of the first 2, because you have to go through one of the others to get there. And most people that do one of the first 2 trainings, level 1, don't go on to the advanced one. They don't need it. But so I have 2 different trainings. One is a 12-month training. It's a self-paced training. So it is pre-recorded videos. It's like over 200 videos in this course. So it's virtually a video a day of study, of work, of exercises, of training, of practice, preparing yourself. And then around week 38, we have an intensive week, which is where one-on-one, whether it's online or in person, we go through the awakening process. With that said, this is not the first time we meet. This is not the first time. We meet once every 2 weeks as a group, in a group session, for people to ask questions about the courses. So both courses have access to the same group and the same sessions. So people can ask questions. We can do practices of what's in the courses, practices. So obviously there are people in there that they've learned to do this and they're facilitating. So we'll look at perhaps even business practices, how to deal with certain problematic clients, how to deal with situations. Everything is in there for you to gain experience. Have a group in English and a group in Spanish. But then we also do activations and practices and protection techniques and things like that, all within those group sessions, so we can practice and train together. So there is the 12-month training. It is self-paced for busy people who just want to work by themselves. Then I have the intensive one-on-one training, which is a 3-month training where we meet one-on-one online once a week. This program, the one-to-one, it is not a definite program because I bespoke it for you. So if you want to work specifically on tantric stuff, or you are a hypnotherapist and you want to work specifically with group people, we do that. Or I'm not interested in becoming a facilitator, I just want to work on myself and go as far as I can, we work on that. It's a one-to-one designed for you training. At the end of the 3 months, we also have an intensive week that again can be online, it can be in person here. And you still get 52 weeks access to the group. Everybody on all the trainings gets access to me via app chats. So you can ask me questions going through the training, through the year. If you're ready, either to become a facilitator of different types of energy, not just Kundalini activation, but learn what truly is pranic healing, what truly is Kundalini awakening and activations, and the true Kundalini, not tantric energy, light body energy. I talk very little about the light body energy because it is the most advanced thing. Most people aren't ready for it until they've got to awaken the Kundalini. Once you've awakened the Kundalini, it becomes a very simple thing because it is so abstract. But you get to a level of understanding. Once you've connected to that collective consciousness, you can then very quickly understand what it is. To try and explain it when not, it's a very difficult process. If you think you are ready, if you want to come and train with me to become a facilitator, to increase, you're a therapist, and to increase the therapies you use, because we also train within the courses, de-armoring. If you want to work specifically and you want to look at hypnosis, hypnotherapy, stuff like that, I've done all these things, all these trainings. I've done, I studied even down to neuro-linguistic programming. I mean, I studied it for 4 years, mastering it, learning everything about it. Because you need all these things as a therapist. Or if you just want to awaken your Kundalini, come join me. Come awaken your energies. Connect to consciousness. Awaken that technology that lies within you. And if not, just engage with the video. Share it with someone else who might be interested. Write a comment. Hit that like button to get more content from me. Because I hope to make these videos from now on. I said at the end of 2024, I was fed up with sort of doing the basic things about what is, and I think I've got enough of them. I want to take this channel deeper and answer deeper questions, to really look to what this path can do for people. Let's see how far we get. See you in another video.